Hi, welcome back to my channel. I have taken a hiatus at least since January of 2020 this year, and as far as book related content, much longer. When I originally started this channel, it was with the intent of it being a BookTube channel. I wanted to further progress my reviews that I post on my blog, NetGalley, Goodreads, Amazon, Edelweiss, and sites like that. And I did well for a while, and then I started getting into planning, so I made several planner related videos. And then when I was interested in other hobbies, I think I made one video about that. And then I just stopped. And I actually made a couple of videos that I edited but never even uploaded. So I wanted to make this video and to briefly talk about why I left, what I've been doing, and what my goals are going forward. Now, basically, I left because I'm in a community online, which is the coloring community, and I experienced a lot of difficulties from certain people in that community, and it just shot my confidence way down. I know that with online bullying, I'm here and they're there, and the likelihood if we were face to face, the things that are said and done probably wouldn't be done. But people tend to have a lot of confidence and power when they're typing on their phones or their computers. And me personally, because I come from a place where I deal with mental health issues on a grand scale, it just knocked my confidence completely out. It just shot it to the ground. Not only did I lose my desire to make videos for this channel, but I lost my love of coloring. Now, I have recently made the decision to begin coloring again. I've ratcheted up some of my supplies. I got more pencils, some markers, a couple of sets of markers, things of that along that line, and I'm even getting a couple other products that I've never ever tried before, and I'm hoping to get back into coloring as well. But that's not going to be a part of this channel. This channel is Robin Loves Reading, because that's the epitome of me. Is I enjoy reading. I love it. That goes beyond saying. Now, I wanted to tell you something. Just recently, an issue came up on Twitter which caused me to scroll through BookTube. And when I did, I kind of got an idea. And thanks to seeing a video, and I'll tell you more about that video in a few minutes, but thanks to seeing that one short video, it kind of sparked my desire to resume this channel. Now, let me tell you something. Although I never did another video again, I never stopped reading. As a matter of fact, in 2019, I read 538 books. There were a few more, but they were DNFs, which is do not finish. And my page rate was, well, very close to 184,000 pages. So 2019 went off like a rocket, because I believe in 2018 I read 318 or 319 books. So jumping up to 538, that was a big jump. So I didn't lose my love of reading. As a matter of fact, I've often been known to say or heard to say that reading is my panacea. It's reading that brings me peace. It's reading that brings me calm. And it's that calmness that keeps me sane. And anyway, so let me tell you where I'm at right now with reading. I'm currently at 330 books for the year. Now, I have to edit this video, or I may edit this video, so if I do, I'm not sure how many the actual number will be, because I'm reading at least 2 a day, often 3 a day, whereas yesterday I read 4 a day, so who knows. But like at the making of this video, I'm at 330 books. Now, my Goodreads goal was 500, and I set that one back in December. So since I am, I think, 110 or 111 books ahead of my goal, the question is, am I going to increase that goal or just reach that goal and continue going past it? And I've talked to a couple of groups on Facebook, a couple of reading groups, obviously, about increasing it to 700. And 700 for me, I guess, would be a modest number because if I'm doing 2 to 3 books a day, 700 would equate, well, let's just do the math. 365 days a year times 2 would be 750 or more. So I could raise it that high, but then I'd be chasing it, and I don't want to chase anything. I want to enjoy reading. I want to keep that love of reading going. So either I'm going to leave it as it is or raise it to 700. As a matter of fact, if you're interested in this video and you have a suggestion on whether I should leave it or raise it, please leave it in the comments and let me know what you think. Now, while I've been absent from BookTube, I have not been absent from my blog. And I wanted to give you some stats on my blog. I started my blog in May 2018, so just last month I reached my 2nd-year blog anniversary. In that 2 years, I have reached over 1,000 blog posts. And that's, I think it's 112 or 113 at this, 1,012 or 1,013. Notice I did not say book reviews, I said blog posts. And the reason that I said blog posts versus reviews is because I developed a pattern of series reviews. I'm a huge series reader. As a matter of fact, I have a 2-page spreadsheet. And if, say for example, I share that spreadsheet via somebody's phone, they're not going to be able to blow it up big enough to see all the detail that I have put into my spreadsheets. So what I've been doing is something called series reviews, and some series reviews could have 2 or 3, but they've been known to have 7 or 8 individual book reviews staggered in one single review. So that 1,000 plus blog posts is closer to, I don't know, 1,050, who knows. Anyway, I also wanted to add that one thing that keeps me busy on my blog is blog tours. I started off with one publisher, which is Bookature, and just with Bookature alone, I think I've done 100, literally 100 in 2 years with one publisher. But since then, I've started working with about 12 major publishers, and now I have done well over 250 with 60 scheduled through October. And that number will grow because the requests come in generally 2 or 3 months before. So say for example, more of the October blog posts won't come in until, blog tour requests won't come in until August, or the September ones won't come until next month. So that 60 that I have scheduled is gonna expound to 70 or 80 or more. Now, when I started doing blog tours, I started with 2 friends of mine, actually 3 reviewer friends of mine, and they're still good friends. And a lot of times we kid around that I'm crazy for taking on those numbers. But the reason that it doesn't affect me is I'm going to continue to read and I'm going to continue to write. I may not represent myself well in front of the camera, but when it comes to writing, that's something that I was gifted with back when I was in grade school. So writing a book review is very easy to translate into a blog tour. The blog tour basically means two basic differences. One is extra graphics, and 2 is a scheduled date. So since I'm going to read anyway, and since I know HTML and I know it like the back of my hand, and the publishers provide the graphics, I can pretty up and fancy up a blog tour post just as easily as I can a standard book review. So why not do the blog tours? And that's what I do. All right, so that's the first half of this video, where I've been and what I'm doing now. And so I thought, as a further way to reintroduce myself, rather than to go back into hi, my name is Robin, blah, 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 I thought I would jump off of a tag that I saw in Ariel Bissett's video that I think it came out in March. And I said, oh, wow, that would be a great way to get restarted. And it's a reading habits video. And there's 11 questions. And I think with those 11 questions, you can get to know me just a wee bit better. And so here we go. The first question is, do you have a place, certain place at home that you read? And I would say up until maybe November, that place at home was my bed. I read in bed because that's pretty much where I spent all of my time. But right now, where you see me, I'm sitting in a recliner in an office that my husband helped put together back in November. And so I do maybe 50% of my reading right here in my recliner. Well, no, let's break it down a little better. I do about 30% of my reading here in my recliner, maybe 50% in my bed, and the other 20% is when I'm sitting which is to my left, at my jigsaw puzzle table. When I'm working on jigsaw puzzles, I'll have an audiobook on. So half the time is in this room, and the other half the time is in my bedroom. So that's where I read. The second question is, do I use a bookmark or a random piece of paper? Bookmark, bookmark, bookmark. That's the simple answer. Now, the third question is, can you stop reading, or do you have to stop at a certain chapter or after a certain amount of pages? No, I can stop anywhere and pick up anywhere. I have this really uncanny ability to have near perfect recall. My retention level is extremely high, has always been. So, say for example, I might read a book in June, but not write the review till August or even September because my backlog is so huge. Well, that June book that I read and don't write the review for 2 or 3 months down the line, I'm still going to remember everything about that book, the characters, the plot, the conflict, and the resolution, and how I felt about it. So stopping at a certain place in the book isn't necessary for me. I just can stop, because now my grandson and my daughter live with us, and I have a lot of care with that grandchild. So if he needs his nana, or I need to get a snack or whatever, boom, I can just stop. Question number 4, do you eat or drink while reading? And the answer is yes. I am a huge water drinker. Huge. So I'm constantly drinking. I'm also a snacker of Cheez-Its. That's my favorite snack. Thank goodness there's not much residue, but it really doesn't matter because most of my reading is done on a Kindle Paperwhite anyway, so if there was residue, it wouldn't really translate well. Yes, I do read print arcs that I get from publishers, but even then, I'm not too worried about cheeses because I don't eat them like nonstop. I just will have a few at a time. Now, number 5, multitasking, music or TV while reading. Well, I already mentioned that I do jigsaw puzzles while I listen to audiobooks, and sometimes even I do them when I'm listening to text to speech. And as far as television, no, I cannot read with the TV on. But I will play music when I'm reading, particularly in bed, and that's because my bedroom is closer to my living room, and when my husband is home, he works at night, so it just depends on what time of day. Because he is always watching a news channel or a sports channel, and the volume is kind of excessive, I put music on either my Echo Dot or my sound bar to drown out his noise. And my reading pace doesn't slow down at all. As a matter of fact, it probably increases because I'm not distracted by the news that's in the next room or the television that's in the next room. The 6th question is one book at a time or several at once. It's usually 2 to 3 books at once, sometimes even 4 at once. But what will happen is in one case, I may do buddy reads with people. And when I do buddy reads, we split it up into sections so that we can discuss each section. So if I'm doing a buddy read, quite naturally, then I'm going to want to read something else while I'm doing that buddy read. Another thing is I might be reading a book for a challenge that is not my regular genre that I ordinarily read. So that book doesn't really capture me, so I will read that book in sections. And then what might happen is I may pick up a third book, and the book will be so good that I'll read it from cover to cover in 3 to 4 hours. So yes, several books at once is not a problem. The 7th question is reading at home or everywhere. Well, I'm homebound due to my physical health. So, not due to the pandemic, but because I'm homebound, quite naturally, the primary answer to that is at home. But when this pandemic is over and I resume my barrage of doctor's appointments, which are all being done by video right now, I am using transportation, so quite naturally, me and my handy dandy Kindle Fire are always in motion. Number 8, read out loud or silently in your head. Oh my goodness, why would I want to read out loud? No, definitely not. I read in my head. I don't have anything in front of me, but there is a time I read out loud. Okay? It's because of these. Okay? My grandson's here, so I may read 7 or 8 books a day to him now. Of course, they don't get counted on my Goodreads. So yes, I guess I do read out loud, and that's a transition that we've been involved in for maybe 2 months. So yes, every morning and every afternoon and every evening, he brings me a handful of books. He's only 15 months old, but he loves to be read to. So yeah, I guess I do read out loud. But if I'm reading for myself and I'm not using an audiobook or Kindle Fire text-to-speech, quite naturally I read silently. Do you read ahead or even skip pages? Never, 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 never. No, I don't want to know what happens. I am extremely curious, extremely nosy, and I like the evolution of a story. I like the story being progressed. I like to know my characters. I like to know their motivations, so I don't read ahead. Do I skip pages even if it's a book that I don't enjoy, even if I figure out the killer on chapter 6 or chapter 10? No, I read from first page to the end page. If there's a letter from the author, if there's an introduction, if there's a prologue, if there's an epilogue, if there's an about the author at the end, if there's acknowledgments, I read from the beginning to the very end. Okay, number 10, and there's only 2 questions left. Breaking the spine or keeping it like new. Now, probably 80 to 90% of my books are either electronic or in some cases audio, but there are a mountain of print arcs that I have from a publisher, actually publishers plural, and they take up pretty much one entire bookshelf. And so when I read those books, because they were gifted to me, I never ever want to break the spine. And then when I was watching Ariel do this video, and I am going to tag her, I said to myself, well, Robin, that's not really true. Think about it when you were a kid. Like, for example, I read Roots when I was 13 or 14 years old. I borrowed it from my grandmother. I took the book cover off. I sat there at the kitchen table one night. I read it from cover to cover in one night at that age. And no, I would never break the spine. I read at that age and beyond. I read paperback after paperback, hardback after hardback. No, I'm not a spine breaker. I want to keep it like new. I've seen. I don't have any paperbacks in front of me, but I've seen people like curl a cover and back, like if it's a paperback, and hold it like that. But no, I don't do that. And then 11, do you write in your books? That's the last question. And no, that's annotation. I don't annotate at all, ever. And there are times when I will use my iPad's notepad feature when I start to formulate the idea for the book review. So I will either stop reading or pause my book or whatever method I'm using to read, and I will go over to the notes feature and I will compose a portion of the review, because I'm not going to forget things that, as I mentioned earlier in this video. So there's really no need to annotate. Now, I don't know if this question is more writing in the book or annotating, but I thought of annotating when I saw this question or I heard this question on her video. I've seen people, and it might be people who are going to do detailed book reviews or detailed discussions on popular books where they'll annotate with Post-its, and the book might be this big when they're starting, but the annotations, it's going to be huge. But I've never ever done that, and it's not something that's necessary for me. So that's it. Those were the 11 questions that I thought would be a perfect segue into resuming this channel. And I hope that I've been able to not only entertain you for a few minutes, but garner your interest in me furthering this channel. I will be doing what I've done before, which are wrap-ups, maybe TBRs. My TBRs are massive. So I don't know if I would do a true TBR unless I do it on a weekly basis. I'm going to start doing, I used to try to do Friday reads, uh, but I end my week on Saturday. So at maybe like Sunday mornings, I'll make a video and it will go from the previous week. So I'll try to do those videos and maybe I'll think of a couple more. I don't think I will not do individual book reviews on this channel for every book I read because I'm reading 60 to 70 books a month, and that would be I don't think that would be productive. Um, my blog is listed in the description below. Just about every book I read, I do review on my blog or Goodreads. There are some books that I do because I read that because of reading challenges. As I mentioned, genres that don't capture my attention or genres that I would read on a regular basis, they generally don't get reviewed. They always get rated on Goodreads, but they don't get reviewed. But just about anything else will always be on my blog. Anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I want to thank you for your time, and I hope to hear from some of you in the comments, and I hope to see you again soon. All right, bye-bye.